Hi Peter, it was great seeing you last week. Thanks very much for coming down. Just having a bit of a recap on the session here. So as I was explaining, the lack of height in your golf shots comes from essentially two reasons. There's a lot of club face hooding in the backswing, so the club face gets extremely closed and points towards the ground as you take the club back, which in itself isn't a bad thing as long as the angle of attack is pretty shallow. But let's just have a look. You can see the plane line here, which I've drawn in, and you can see the club tracking slightly on top of the plane line. So you've got a slightly closed club face with a slightly steep angle of attack. Now that is going to create a lot of severity in terms of the lowness of the shots, but also it means that you have to lift slightly. You can just see the head popping up to try and make sure that we get some height into the golf ball. So what I've been suggesting to you is, let's just have a look. Just have to readdress the plane line. So what I'm trying to get you to do is to get particularly the lower body rotating just a wee bit more, and rotation through the lower body will help the club face to open slightly. So you can see I've got the right foot dropped back, the right toe turned out just a wee bit, which you've been using on the golf course, of course. You've been practicing somewhat the last couple of weeks. And then the feeling is that the club face opens slightly, beg your pardon, on the way back, as if you're giving almost a bit of a high five as you take the club back. So the right palm is then getting more open, I'll show you. So the right palm is opening and the club face should feel like it's, rather than pointing down, it's pointing more this way, which you can see a slight improvement here in this particular golf swing. So the hips are certainly rotating much more. You can see the club is clearly much more underneath the plane line, which is fantastic. So it's going to shallow the angle of attack. As the club's dropping down, can you see it's just ever so slightly underneath the plane line now, so working in from a much better position. And as I said, we're looking for the slimness of the divot. But as we work on a shallower angle of attack into the golf ball, we have to make sure that we open the chest to the target on the way through, as opposed to rocking back behind the golf ball and lifting away from it, which will ultimately, if you have the correct angle of attack, will lead to you thinning or topping the golf ball. So we now have to make sure that we're moving forward towards the target, a la Gary Player. Make sure that the chest is opening as we strike the golf ball. So I look forward to hearing how you've been getting on, and hopefully see you again soon.